Hello, and welcome to The Weather Report, a behind the scenes podcast about the making of the Gusu Summer Camp Dating Sim Expanded Edition. I'm Daisy Diversions, and today I'm joined by Nonplus, the lead developer and lead writer,
Hello.
and the artists who worked on the game. The forecast for today's episode is a downpour of everything art with a chance of scattered yapping likely. Gusty winds of graphic design passion are expected later in the episode. And beware of riptides that will be caused by all of my feelings about fonts. Before we get started with my questions for you all about the art in this game, will you all tell the listeners more about your role related to art and the visual experience? Nonplus, let's start with you.
Great. So art-wise, I was in charge of the background art. And in the first game I did UI. Thankfully, second game I have passed on the UI to somebody more talented than me. And I also did the little cursors.
Great. And Carrie, can you go next?
Yes, I'm Carrie C. Money. I did all of the sprite art for the game, all the character work when you're actually playing it.
Great. Lily?
Hi. I did the ending splash art and the what would you call it? Text box? Kind of like the grab,
Yeah, the dialogue box. Mm-hmm.
like the little banner thing.
And then Gaff, would you finish us off?
Hi, I'm Gav. I did all of the UI, so all the little bits, like the little banners and the approvals page and that sort of thing.
I want to point out that Carrie and Lily both did the cover art for our game.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I did do that.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I did that.
I did the cover art for the first round, and then Lily did the cover art for the DLC.
Yes.
And then I did a little bit of graphic design here and there, including the mini guide, and then I helped out with some of the font selection. So let's get started. So, Nonplussed, as the person who was spearheading the development of this game from the beginning, when you were starting from a blank slate, how did you decide what artistic elements you wanted to include in the first version of the game, and how did that kind of shift as to what you wanted to add in the expanded edition?
So when we first started, and it was just Podfigures and me, so then there was only text and just the background art to have something to scroll the text on. So that was where we started off with. But I've played dating sims before, and I know how beautiful they can look. So I think once we were almost done with the writing, I was like, I really like an artist to do like at least the character art, like the sprite. Found Carrie to do that, which was amazing.
Mhm.
And I think when we were first discussing it, me and Carrie, we were saying, background, character sprites, ideally, do something cute with UI, and some splash art. And in the first game, we only managed to get the character sprites because the time was really short. But like, I'm so glad in the expanded edition, we just kind of did all the rest of that. So yeah, just kind of what I've seen done in dating sims, I guess.
And so for Carrie, from your perspective, how did you find out about this dating sim? What were your thoughts on this crazy project? And, why did you decide to get involved?
Non Plus put out a call into one of our shared servers, like I'm looking to do the art or I'm looking to get an artist to help out with the game. And I have done like casually, like in various like little college hackathons or whatever, I've done art for smaller versions of these kinds of games before. And so I was like, yeah, I can do that. I draw it pretty quickly. I hope you're okay with me moving across the country halfway through this project. But as long as you're cool with that kind of timeline, I think I can chunk that out. I do like drawing the same guy over and over again. It's fun and doing that kind of modular work. So yeah, as far as like the visual style, like we did work back and forth, and I was like, this is what I think I can do over and over again, style wise. Does this work for you? Back and forth like that. Getting some of the technical stuff down, like sizing and things like that. But yeah, I'm familiar with the concept of a Ren'Py game for 2011. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, I mean, I'm not like I've spent all 14 years since then doing them, but I've seen them done before. Knew what went into them. So
Oh, that's so cool. I definitely want to hear about other projects you've worked on in the past another time.
Just to give like some context, like when Carrie said, yes, I would do the art for you, on day one, the day one of saying yes, day one,
Mhm.
Carrie gave me like 8 sprites. So like
That
basically
sounds like
all
something
like
I would do.
yeah, just like boom, sprites. Like, whoa, that's amazing. So yeah.
Mhm.
That's
And they
incredible.
basically already look like the finest versions. Because I went back to look in the Discord and like the first thing you gave me was Jiang Cheng, like with his
Yeah.
like talking like unimpressed talking face. And
Mhm.
it was basically identical to what we've been using since. So just
Yeah, I don't think I've touched up any of them other than make them frown better or things like that. You know, can you make them look more serious? That kind of thing.
but like the original stuff that you made the very
Mhm.
first day where you said yes, we've been
Mhm.
using to this. So just
Yep.
amazing work.
So, Carrie, one thing that I think is really great about your sprites is that each character has a very distinct vibe from each other, and their personalities really come through well in those expressions. What is your process when creating these characters initially?
Um, honestly, I've been drawing these guys off and on through the years, so I just kind of
Mhm.
have my standard personal faces for how I draw these guys. But there's some like undertones to it. I think that help out a lot more too. Like I think some people probably noticed I used a different like shadow color for each of them. So
Mm,
every character got their own unique little shadow color for their highlights and all that.
mhm,
So like Zhang Chang is purple and Wei Wuxian is like a dark is like a bright red and the Wing Queen is like a dark red, like all over the place like that. Um and as far as the faces, I honestly just kind of am a very expressive artist. That's one of the things that I'm good at is doing a bunch of different faces and facial expressions. And that's another reason why I was like, yeah, I can do that. I can draw a bunch of the same guy drawn 6 different faces.
It's really impressive, and I think it brings a lot of life to the game. So, thank you
Mhm.
so much for your work on that. And so, when it came to creating additional sprites for the expansion, what was kind of your mindset? Was there anything specifically you wanted to do or to change going in this time?
It'd been a year since I looked at them, and so when y'all started talking
Mhm.
about doing an expansion, I was like, I'm gonna have to remember what I did. And I was like, oh, I remember. But I did do a lot of let's copy this exact one that I did before and change the mouth.
Mhm, mhm.
And then honestly, the team kind of pushed me more into like, hey, can you give them hands? can you can you can you actually make them move around a little bit more? And so it was good to have other people to be like, no, you need to try harder. Um,
It wasn't
and
try
but
harder, it was more just like when I think that the one that you had, which
Mhm,
the file is called Jung Chung Hands, but it's kind of this one where he's kind of like throwing his hands up in the air to just be like,
mhm,
"Ugh," right?
mhm, mhm.
That one is just so expressive, and I felt like when we used it in combination with his normal stance, it just added so much kind of energy to the scene
Yeah.
that we were like, "Could we have more like that?" Right? So it's just kind of like building on it, right?
Yeah, it is fun to have those kinds of things. One of the things that I was trying to make them all like the same basic size, which is kind of a double-edged sword because
Mhm.
I didn't want them to be like the same character to be kind of like going back and forth and up and down like 6 pixels, or like I wanted them to stay in the same basic space even when you're just switching like their facial talking. But that also meant that they kind of were pretty rigid in like how they were moving
Mm.
around and stuff. And there's only so much like flexibility when it came to like you can only move them so much before it's completely different. It's like that animation problem. Um, where you see like really choppy animation by beginners because they're not necessarily good at keeping the fluidity in there. And I was trying to mitigate that, and they ended up being a little static because of it. But the yeah, so like with the hands one, like I had to basically completely redraw the entire guy to make
Mhm,
him do that.
mhm,
Rather than just let's change a face and some eyebrows.
mhm, mhm. Well, they all came out great. So, Lily, so you created splash art for the game. Misery, who wasn't able to join us today, but we really missed them, did the mid-game art, and Lily, you did the art for the different endings. Can you tell me more about what that process was like for you?
How do I explain my brain?
However you want.
It was a lot of going over the text from the game of like what the characters are doing at the end and just going off of like, okay, what would that look like in my mind?
Mm.
And to kind of make them all a little cohesive and also make it a little easier to draw.
Mhm,
I
mhm,
had it so like always like have like their back to them. So like, they're looking up at the sky at the lanterns.
mhm.
And it was also a lot of constantly going back and forth, looking at the sprites so I could at least match up the style that I'm still developing to look at least cohesive with Carrie's.
Mhm, mhm.
It helped a lot that Carrie through the brush that me. So that helped a lot.
Yes, I did my best when I was relearning how to draw the sprites for the DLC to be like, here are all of the design choices that I made. Here's the layer opacity I used for the shading, and
Yes.
here's the brush that I used. And you don't have to use it, but in case you want to, here you go.
Mm.
No, it's a good brush. And no, I also like copied a lot of the
I like that brush. It's what I use all the time.
I also copied like the highlights in the eyes, each
Mhm.
one have a different shading. I did tweak a little bit like how much opacity.
Mhm.
I think it was like Wei Wuxian, like it looked a little off. I don't know what I was doing that was like different from yours, but it just looked a little like his his robes looked brown. I was like,
Yeah.
no, that's no.
Sometimes the fun shading colors can be fun until it's natural color, and then it's just like, wait, what's going
Yeah, I super loved it. I drew them like even though the scene was very similar, because as the person who wrote the text, I did want the endings when they were at CC to not differ too much, but like you gave each ship like a different pose that feels so correct for like the character dynamics, and I thought it was so cool because like good like 6 out of 10 of them or like 8 out of 10 of them were just they are standing there watching the TC lanterns,
I
right?
Which that was tricky. It's like, all right, how do I make this just not boring? And I think it was also going back and forth like with you guys. I think it was when Ching and Ni Huai Song, like the pose that they had with
Mm,
Zhang Chong,
mhm.
he wanted me to like swap those out, and looking back, I was like, yeah, that was a good choice. I like him holding the lantern with her. Like that was a good choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also say I think it's really cute how like in the splash art, you can see like Meng Yao is tiny. I'm very
Oh,
pleased.
yeah.
Meng Yao is tiny.
Even though it's based off of like the art style is based off of the Untamed, I went back to like look online to find like, okay, but what are the character size differences?
Mm.
My
Mhm.
boy is tiny.
Yeah.
Like I actually had to tweak it a bit when the three of them were together.
Yes.
Like when June like was because we're just like, all right, his head is like out of the picture to just get them all both in frame. I had to like actually shrink Nim and June a bit. It's like you don't fit, but you're too big.
Yeah.
And he's too small.
Meng Yao is just a pocket husband, you know?
Was it poster size like a little terrier or like a chihuahua?
Shih Tzu,
Yeah, that's right.
a purse dog.
Listen, that's nonplus chihuahua, right?
Right? Like, because we couldn't do that with the sprites for, technical reasons.
Yeah.
Everyone's
Yeah.
Yeah,
right? We had to keep them within a
All the sprites are the same height.
yeah,
made sense.
Except for the bush.
Mhm.
except for that.
Yes, except for the
Like,
bush. The bush is much smaller.
Yeah.
Which is great.
because like with I think some dating sims, they only ever have like one or two characters on screen at the same time. So you kind of have like a bigger space to work with. But poor Carrie has to work within the constraints of like there is one scene where like 5 or 6 of them are on screen at the same time. And like
Yeah.
we had to like tweak it so that so that you could see everybody and they can't be too fat, but then they still have to emote. So like, the sprites really working within a much more of like technical limitations.
Mhm.
Yeah, which are different from the splash art, which is also cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think there was like within like the RenPy framework, there is like a pixel width and height for the sprites. And so there
Mhm.
was only so much dramatic hand waving I could do because there's only so wide the sprites could go.
Just like I think there are some interesting technical limitations for creating art for a game, right? Yeah.
And I remember actually when we started off doing this, like the very first few that I did, we were still figuring out like how it was going to look. And at first, I drew all of the sprites as more like headshotty busts, and like cut off where the text box cut off. And then
Yeah.
and then within like
remember
a day
that.
or two, within like a day or two, Nan was like, Yeah, we're gonna have to extend them all the way down to the bottom because when the text box goes away, they're just a floating head. And I'm like, oh, whoops.
The struggle of things disappearing in different layers than you thought they would.
Yes.
And then it's like, oh no, you have revealed the thing that I
Yeah.
hid behind the box.
And my actually my art file for I think I did Zhang Cheng and Wishan first. And so their art file still has like the I added like extra thing behind it to do the arm extension so that I could go back if I wanted to or whatever. I don't know why I did that. Just fix it all together. But like they're all like multi-layered. And then after that, the other characters I did afterwards, I'd already figured that out, and so I didn't have to fix things like that. But yeah, if some of them have an awkward thing around elbow width height, that's why.
And I remember there was a moment of like, wait, can we flip them? And then we had to redraw them all flipped because otherwise their robes are telling you they're dead.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I knew that because of like prior sprite work or whatever, and kind of you do tend to kind of flop the guy back and forth as they're running around or whatever, if you're trying to move them and stuff. So that was one of the things that Nana and I talked about like day one was like I was like, we're gonna have to go ahead and just make an alternate version of it that's already flipped, and I'm gonna have to do the fixins. Like we're just gonna have to fix it. And do.
I was kind of thinking like maybe for people who might make their own game, like the decision of do you want the sprite front facing, so facing the camera, and then like then Jiang, instead of having a Jiangcheng sprite, he would have like a little portrait next to the text box, like some dating sims have for the POV character, so that you just only need to do one version. But at the same time, having like multiple like left right facing gave us so much flexibility to do like some interesting stuff with conversations, right? Like I was able to have Jiang Cheng pace back and forth on the screen. I was like the boys could do like the little thing where they hide behind the text box and like move it left and right. Like that was what we gained by having them looking at each other as opposed to looking front facing.
Yeah.
So like I just think like there are small like little details that happen based on like very early, not particularly informed choices we made about like how we wanted technically the art to be restricted.
Yeah, there were some good gags in there, right?
Yeah, exactly. It really only worked because sprites were side facing.
Yeah, so it's a trade-off, right? Like a little bit more work, but also you can do a little bit more with it.
Yeah.
Lily, what was the most challenging piece for you to create?
Probably the background. I suck at backgrounds. I'm getting a little bit better. So probably just that and getting like the lighting right all around. I actually found I use Clip Studio Paint and I found a brush that does the lanterns. But it just looked weird, so I actually had to trace over what the brush had drew on there. So it like looked cohesive enough. But yeah, definitely the backgrounds. This is why with the Jung Trio, I was like, hey, do you guys got a background I could steal? So I don't like draw anything more, please.
Yeah, the Kai.
I will say that your lantern background is so pretty, and I love like it's so smart of you to decide to make them like glimmer, because that really adds extra touch.
Even though I gave you more work to do because like I don't know how to do that. Sorry.
It's so simple to code. Like once I figured it out, so like, I'm so glad. Yeah, you gave me like just the two pictures to alternate between.
But I thought the Yingju would honestly be like my biggest struggle because I've drawn mostly like scum villain artwork, so I've gotten like used to like guys with long hair and stuff like that. I haven't really drawn anybody with facial hair before. It's like he's gonna look so stupid. He's gonna take forever. It's like first time done. It's like, oh wow, okay, that was a lot easier than I fucking thought. Cool. And he turned out to be like, I mentioned it before we started recording, but I don't hate him. I don't like him. He's cool. He's there. He's fun.
You enjoy?
He's on my top favorite. He's my favorite that I drew. I just love so much how his like hair and everything turned out. So it's like, all right, I didn't expect that. Like it's like the knee siblings. Because I also really like how Nihuai Song's like Pose came out too. Not so much of a fan of like how Jung Chung's Pose came out now, because that was like one of my first ones I drew, so still get into like the groove of it. But I really like how Nihuai Song came out.
Do you think that part of the reason that do you think maybe you gained an affinity for Ning Mingjue because you also voiced him?
I mean, just literally voiced him like on a I was like, you know what? I know Daisy likes my Joe from
Oh.
Skate Boy, so like, I could probably do that for him. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. It also was like what 5 lines. God damn, I had to re-record that so often. I'll save that for the other one, but that was a pain in the ass, despite the fact it was like little lines.
I mean,
Well, no, I do like the character.
I think it was a lot of lines. We'll talk about it in the other
Yeah,
episode, but yeah, no, it's you did a great job though.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the
Hmm?
video you made, Lily?
Oh yes, the God, that whole like week, like everything's like a fever dream. I won't lie. It's like what happened? I forget like who brought it out, what happened, how we saw the video. It's just like the dumbass trio. It's like, that's them. It, like
They really are.
it like spent like what like an hour, maybe not even, like just quickly throwing that together. Like the editing part was like the most annoying. It's like, how do I fade this to advertise the like, game? But no, that was hilarious. And I knew I had to use the bush.
It was great.
The bush sprite, I knew I had to incorporate that because it was fucking fantastic.
The bush. It's
Yeah.
me.
The book.
Though it was funny when I made it. I could have sworn, I don't know why you made this up in my head, that you made sprites of all 3 of them as bushes. And I was like trying to find the files, like, where the
Oh,
fuck is it?
no.
It's like, oh no, it's just me, my song. Dang it.
I actually think I remember the conversation that spawned the bush. Because like when we started off, Nan gave me like a whole list of like all the sprites that they'd already written out. And cool, great, awesome. And one of them was like, can you draw like, a Hoysong like or a bush for Hoysong to hide behind, like the character sprite to hide behind? And I was like, what if he's just the bush? Like he's just gonna be the
I'll
bush.
deal
That's
with
too
that.
much work. We're just gonna draw the bush. It was the best one.
It really was. And it happened like day 1 as well. It's
Yeah,
just like,
yeah, it was one of the very first ones. Yeah.
oh,
It's just so good.
And I had
Yeah.
so the actual source file for the bush, I had this idea in my head because like I know how this works, and that's not how it ended up happening. But the base bush and the leaves are actually on 2 different layers, so that if you wanted to try to shake it, you could shake the leaves instead of like just shaking the whole sprite up and down. And I don't think we ended up doing that. But
no,
that was
I did
an idea.
too. I did try to pick just the leaves, and it didn't look enough.
It
Like
didn't
Mia
look good
Haisang
enough.
was,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
I just put everything together.
Yeah, but I remember that when I went to go make my little icon for this endeavor, I was like, oh yes, I should make the bush. And then I realized that I'd actually saved the 2 files as separate PNGs so you could play around with it. And so I had to make another one so that I could use it for my icon for this.
I will say that I almost, because you saved the leaves separately, it gave me the idea of like, when Nia Huaisang emerges from the bush, would it be really funny to have the leaves kind of attached to his regular character?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that would have been funny.
That would have been cute. No, but it couldn't quite make it work with like
Yeah.
the character, like the
Oh,
storyline. But like,
no.
that would have been so funny if he comes out of the bush like covered in leaves.
Yeah, I don't think we see Neo Haisang again in that scene though, right?
He hides in the bush if Taka comes by, right? In the ending.
Yeah.
Right.
Spoiler alert. But
I'd assume people watching or listening, they played it, I'd hope.
they might
I
not have
don't
gotten
know.
the secret ending. Who knows? But there is a part of the game where Huaisang hides in the bush again, a late game, and then he emerges
Yes.
being very sad, like, "No, why did you not send Taka away?" And then like that would have been a really good moment to have him be like the leaf strewn on the character.
You would have my icon is literally Daka.
I know.
Spoiler.
Spoilers.
I mean, I think that's even funnier if he like if Jung Chung comes back, Neo Huaisang's covered in leaves, and then Jung Chung is still choosing to romance Neo Huaisang while he's covered in leaves.
Okay,
Aww.
so that was literally the problem I had with that Huaisang never leaves the screen between that point and the like romance point. So I was like, I can't leave him covered in leaves all the way until the end. So then I couldn't put leaves on it.
You should have. I could have added leaves to the splash art in his hair.
I would have drawn
Or just
special
like Daga's like
leaf eye things that would have actually aligned up with right if I had known.
I should have. I guess a joke. So the background flash. Just have DUI song in a bush just off of the corner. Just like spotty.
It sounds like we need to do a second DLC.
Just for the bush.
Yeah, the bush.
The Adventures of Bush.
I'm trying to think. You'd have to have some sort of pun, and it'd be like the Hedge Edition or something like that.
Yes.
So Gav, you put in a ton of work on the UX for the expanded edition. Can you tell us more about the assets that you worked on, and what was your kind of overall vision for the experience you were creating?
Yeah, so I had actually never gotten around to playing the original dating sim the first time you guys made it. But I saw, like, I didn't have time to podfic, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to miss out on this one too. But then you guys were talking about the art, and I was like, wait, UI, that looks like Canva graphics. Like, I could do that. And so I said, oh, sure, I'll do that. I had no idea what it was that I was signing up to do, really. I never played a game like this. I hadn't played the original. I had no idea. But, like, you were talking about, like, text boxes and banners and things. And I'm like, oh, that's the sort of thing I could make. And so then I just started messing around with it. And the thing about it is it's just so many like little bits, right? And so you make all the little bits and then you duplicate the little bits and then you make sure that the little bits are lined up so that when they appear in the same spot. And then you do all of these things. And Nonplus was really great about like laying out, like, you need this one in this size and this with this file name. And it was a lot of just iterating it and figuring out, well, can it be here? Can it be there? Can you make it a little bit more red? Lots of little details. I always really like the scroll effects that I have in Canva, and so I started with those for the approval banners. That was the first thing I made, was all the approval banners. I made those started with the banners and then figuring out what they would look like, and then I made them, and that is where Carrie's like consistent color coding came in handy, because I made them so each banner would match the sprite color. And also, the color coding of the Untamed, where they all have their color-coded characters, and they're so helpful when you're just starting out in your first T-drum and trying to learn everyone's names.
Work smarter, not harder.
So color coding all of the things.
It works for everybody except Meng Yao, who has not a Jin yet. So has no color.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were debating, like, I was like, what color do I make him? I ended up with sort of like a bronze, because it was like a greenish gold.
I think that's what I gave him.
Was my idea. I don't know if I achieved it.
That's kind of like the shading.
Yeah, because I was like, what do we do with Meng Yao? Because he's not Jin Guan Yao, but he's also not Nia.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think I gave him an RN.
Despite I do love that he has Nia braids in the sprite. It makes my little Sunsun heart very happy.
Yes, absolutely.
No, he is hardcore in that. Yeah, I gave him an orange. I'm looking at my color scheme now.
Yeah.
So like not a gold, but more like an actual like almost pure orange.
But his accessories that he has has kind of that bronzy, so that it works really well.
Yeah. I did pick out specific Untamed outfits to use for this. That was one of the initial conversations, is like, which version of this are we doing, and it was pretty easy to settle on the Untamed because of the characters that are present and all that. And so I was like, cool, great, so we're getting Dimples.
Yes, Dimples.
I remember I panicked and my bag's like, shit, did I add the dimples? Like, I did.
Dimples are the most important character trait.
Yes, absolutely.
And the thirst for murder. Anyway.
Yes. Tiny Dimples thirst for murder.
Yeah.
There's your Yao.
Yes.
Oh, and pocket sized. Yeah.
Very important.
Yes. Yeah. So the other thing I worked on was the approvals page. And a fun fact about that one is that in my document with all of the UX stuff, pages 35 through 90 are just hearts, because each half of a heart.
Yep. Thank you for your work.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Each half of a heart is like duplicated, right? And they're all in their little spot. And like I had to take them, and it was just so much copying and pasting. I don't know. I should have timed myself. I don't know how long it took, but it was just so much copy pasting. But like I love that sort of stuff. I love the little fiddly details and just like it's like data entry with pictures. It's great.
Yeah, and it's red hearts, yellow hearts, and black hearts.
But yeah, it's so many pages.
Copy paste saves lives.
Yep.
Because in fact, all of Chong Chong's face, just like it's just if you look at it close enough, it's all just copy paste. Just copy pasted his face throughout all of them.
I couldn't even tell. It feels like they're so like full of expression that fits like that scene. Can't even tell.
Well, I mean, like there was like some things I might tweak his eyebrows or like if like his mouth was open or like the tilting, but it's just majority of it's copy paste. Like the majority of like if you see duplicates of like people, most likely it's a copy paste.
Oh yeah, I did not notice at all. Good job.
Nice.
A lot of times when I was doing like talking versus not talking, but everything the same, like I literally just duplicated the layers and then just like erased the mouth and redrew the mouth.
I noticed.
Yeah. I'm not that secretive.
Your Photoshop like file saved my ass like so many times.
Yeah, there were a couple sprites that I ended up tweaking myself while Carrie was on vacation, and I did the same thing. I just copied your own assets. And
I
then,
couldn't even tell. They look
put
great.
them in, and I was like, "Yep, we're doing this." Thank you.
They look fantastic. No notes.
Just use everything. But yeah, copy and paste is a real lifesaver there. But yeah, everything looked so good that you did, Gab. And yeah, I think all of those little fiddly bits, like they really, they just add so much to the game in terms of the customization. It does really feel like more, I don't say professional, but I mean, the game looked amazing to me. I don't know. But it kind of just makes it feel even more love.
I just want watching people's reaction to like the friendship things, like people's like Llama G's hearts.
Yeah.
How do I fix it?
Yeah.
That's the fun part. You can't.
Nope.
He will never like you. Give up on
That's what
it.
he's like. You're not allowed to talk to him.
Yeah, you're not qualified to speak to him.
Yeah.
No.
Our relationship screen, like for people if they did want to make a game and want to do something like that, there's actually two ways to do it. One is where Gav, in theory, could have done less work, like just given me one heart, and then coding wise, like I would like repeat that throughout the screen. But like the way Gav does it gives Gav, I feel like so much more control over like the exact positioning. Whereas if I had to do it, like I would find like the exact pixel to like reduplicate the heart. And it would have made my life a lot harder. So it's sort of like I offloaded the work to Gav, which thank you.
Yeah, because like I have like a like demo screen of it with the hearts filled in. And so then I just kind of had to copy just the hearts from that demo and then paste it onto a new page and then do that for half 1, half 2, half 3, half 4 for each set of hearts and then repeat for the next set of hearts, right? But I would copy them from the demo so that they would stay in the right location on that transparent page.
And it was just much, to me, it feels like a much more, like you had much more control. It's less likely to fuck up with doing it all in art versus doing it in code, and like you could like accidentally fuck up like the actual like which pixel, you're like out by 1 pixel, that sort of thing.
Yeah, when it's just built in, it's going to overlay on the exact right spot on the image because I copy and pasted it from the image.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then I just copied the sprites and put the sprites, and I tried out a whole bunch of different little frames, and I ended up with this little circle frame with the banner for the hearts, which then the banner for the hearts actually decided how many hearts I would have, because Nonplus said it could be like 5 to 10, whatever. So I did 4 hearts with halves, so I had 8 hearts, eight like increments, but that was basically decided by the size of the banner. And then I used all the little sprites, and then I used again the colors from the sprites to make the frames have different colors.
The frames were so cute. That was such a good touch.
And then I made the background purple because otherwise there was not enough Jiang around. Everything had to be purple because it's his approval screen, right? So then everything else was purple. It was great. It's like, what color? Purple. What color? Purple. It's so handy. It's like when I'm making things for my partner and I'm like, what color? Red. What color? Red. Because that's his favorite color. Same thing with Jiang. Just that's easy. It's gonna be purple.
I did the same thing when I was doing the mini guides and like any of the graphics I was doing for promo. I was just like, yeah, I'm just meant to make everything purple.
That makes everything so easy.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's always good.
It's so easy.
So we also made the gallery to kind of collect all of the kind of splash art that the player got in the game. Was there anything you guys kind of wanted to say about creating the gallery?
I have absolutely no idea how Nonplus turned that into a gallery that would reveal things. It's so cool. I have absolutely no idea how it works. I just made it, and it has like the little cards, and then somehow the cards turn into pictures. I don't know. It's magic. It's so cool. I don't know how any of the coding works.
There's some very fiddle and coding work, the gallery, mainly not just because we want the art to show up and then disappear, but also because we put in the video in there, and because the video is not art but like a movie file, it needed to do something completely different. And then because we also decided, oh, let's put the opening theme song with the lyrics in the gallery, that needed a completely different thing to like restart the music track when you clicked on it. So just a bunch of fiddly back-end code. But like aside from coding, like art-wise, I think what was fun was like deciding how many images per screen. Because like before, then then when we tried to divide, when we added cover art, so between the original expanded edition and the final patched version currently, we have added some cover art, some splash art, which I've added to the gallery, but to make it fit into multiples of 4, then I have to put the both cover arts under the same frame instead of each one having their own frame. Just stuff like that. Like the decision between of how many images per gallery screen is kind of dependent on how many pictures you have to show anyway. Something like that.
And
so.
I think you said there were 12 originally, I think. And my first thought was to do 6, and 2 pages was 6. And then I remembered they have to be the 16 by 9 size, like dimensions, because they have to match. And I'm like, I can't put 6 horizontal rectangles. I could put 6 vertical rectangles. I cannot put 6 horizontal rectangles on a horizontal rectangle. That's just not going to work. And have space for like the turning buttons. Like I tried. You could make it work, but they would be very small, and there was always like a weird bit of space left over. So I ended up with 4.
Yeah.
And then I just picked I was looking for like what to put on the cards, and I saw like a little cloud, and I'm like, that looks like Gusu. I'll put that on there.
That was so pretty.
Yeah, the little page turn buttons are actually not images. They're in a font.
Oh.
They're the what do you call the little brackets on your they're brackets. Like the one that's on your period on your keyboard. That's what they are.
Oh, the carrots.
Because carrot, yes. They're carrots. They're not images, because then I could use the neon effect to make them light up when you clicked on them. And then, of course, I had to find a graphic to make the little return button also light up when you click on it. So I had to find a graphic that would make it match the neon effect of the font.
Yeah, like for listeners who might not have ever coded a game before, any button, any interactable button, in order for players to know it's interactable, you need a different image anytime they hover over it, so that it looks like it's highlighted. And then, if you click it and it has an effect, then you need a different image. So for instance, the return button on the relationship screen, like it's just like not return, the turning the approval banners on and off, right? Like it seems like a straightforward thing, but like there's like 4 or 5 images for that alone, because you need like the hover version, and then the like selected version, and then the like hover over the selected version, and then like that sort of thing. So
yeah, I've got 4 pages for that. So I have help off hover, help off idle, help on hover, and help on idle, and they're all labeled like that as the file names. And it's just the same button 4 times in different colors. You've got a light blue off and a dark blue off and a light green on and a dark green on.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
the naming conventions of images is half the battle as well, right?
Yeah, so like Nonplussed made a list. This is what this one should be called, and this is what this one should be called. And I labeled my slides with that in Canva. And then when I downloaded the zip file, it would download each PNG as the name of its slide. So they came with the only had to do it once.
Nice.
You didn't have to go in and name all the files because they downloaded as their names.
Oh, great. That's actually a good tip.
So that saved both of us a lot of nonsense.
Yeah, I'm going to keep that tucked away in the future for other projects. Yeah.
It's so helpful. It's so helpful. You don't have to download a bunch of files that say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is not helpful.
Oh god.
You can, in fact, name your pages in Canva. I don't remember when I figured that out, but yeah.
That's incredible.
I didn't know that.
We're all learning right now. Learning from the master.
There we go.
This is a question for everyone. So when you think about all of the pieces that you created for this game, what's the thing that you're the most proud of, or the piece you're most proud of?
I feel like I should say the bush, but I feel like I'm contractually obligated to say the bush.
You're not obligated. You can say whatever you want. The bush won't bite back.
I actually really like the cover art. I think the cover art came out well. Like, I did decide pretty early on. I think I tried like half of the background because as Nan mentioned when we were talking about this, it was like, okay, we want sprites, we want background, we want UI elements. And I think I got like halfway through a background and I was just like, no, it's gonna look bad. You should use not my art for the backgrounds. But they do integrate with the background art from the Donghua pretty well. And the cover art one came out really nice.
Yes, it's so charming. I love it.
Yeah, it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I also love the way, like, Lily, like, this like version 2, like you can see the direct link, and it feels it's really cool.
Yeah, I do prefer Carrie's, but I remember I forget who it was like asking like to shift around to make like Jung Chung more focus.
Oh, that was me. Oh yeah, I was like, could you make Jung Chung a little bigger? Like it's game.
I tried. I'll try to keep it still the same. I do prefer Carrie's. They're cute. They have a little charm to them.
Both versions are great.
They're both great.
It's really cute to have both.
Yeah, I like
Both great.
I think it just like fits with Carrie's like style with the sprites a little bit better, in my opinion.
I mean, I did draw the sprites, so that would make sense.
No, I just mean like the background, like just I don't know, it just feels better.
I did add like an extra shadow to the characters on the background to make them kind of blend in a little bit, and maybe that's
I did not do that.
Yeah, like I have like a little blue shadow like underneath them, so they blend in a little bit.
Makes sense.
I really like Daga, like how he turned out. But
Yeah.
then I really, really like how Namonji's face, like just the subtle blush and like
Oh yeah.
I'm really proud of how he looks.
Very cute. The Wong Xian ending is really.
And then probably just because like I'm still learning, like I'm still developing my style, but probably like the one that I did I think was Nonplussed asked about getting like the 3 siblings, pretty much like the Zhang trio, together.
Yeah.
So I just like whipped that out real quick and I really did it. But like that, I'm also like really proud of that work, probably because like, hey, I'm actually getting better at this.
Always a fun experience.
And also we finally got to put her in the fucking game.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I think the original list of
Mhm.
sprites that I had Yanli on it, and I got like halfway through doing the sprite, and then it was like, nah, we kind of wrote her out. We got too much going on.
Yeah.
But I do wish that's one. If we do another DLC, that's the thing that I would push for. Is I want to be able to have her in there.
It's her turn to start dating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I did go off like that. I did go off a lot with that sketch and like even use like the colors I used for the sketch for her shadowing.
I don't think I colored
have
her.
it
I think I
memorized,
just had
'cause
the lines. But
Yeah, you just had like a sketch, but it was in a different shade of purple than Zhang Chang. So like, I'll just use that.
oh yeah,
It's like more of like a softer shade.
I think that's actually just I had like a background stuff so that I could see when I'd accidentally got out of the lines because they're supposed to be transparent PNGs.
Mhm.
And I'm not necessarily perfect at coloring inside the lines, especially on like the zoom in 300% pixel level, which you need to be with transparent ones. So I put like a really bright color underneath it so I could see those kinds of things better. And that was just the bright color. I still have it as the background color there.
No, I really like how she turned out. Like she's finally in the game. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I really like how Llama G turned out, and I really like how like the final piece, like the three of them turned out. Even though I'm really proud of.
Yeah, to all the listeners, you guys should definitely play the game again so you get to see Shitya.
Oh yeah, that's how I did.
Yeah, somebody.
Yeah.
And also that bunny on the lanterns, because I fucking forgot about that. I even like had like a reference photo set aside and everything. I'm just like, I feel like I'm forgetting something. Nah, it's fine.
Happens all
You
the time.
probably did it. It's okay.
And then I'm watching Kictor like talk about the bunnies and like reading the text and all that. It's like, oh shit.
What about you, Gab? Which fiddly bit was your favorite?
I really liked the approval banners, or whatever we ended up calling them. We had a whole discussion about what we were going to call these things in the help menu as well. We could not decide what they were. But yeah, I think I really like how they came out and messing around with all the different colors.
You know what? You're right. And I just continue to think of them as approval banners because that's the way we originally said they were.
Right. I think.
What did we even settle on?
It says approval notifications, I think, in the help page.
Yeah.
So I think we did end up landing on approval, but we talked about all different things we could call them.
And it's funny what sticks because like the name of the game, like I think like in the original, I asked like people, guys, what should we name this game? Right now, the name, like the draft name of it is Gusu Summer Camp Dating Sim, and like we just never had a title that was not Gusu Summer Camp Dating Sim all the way until now. It's just like, all right, this is the draft name, the like work in progress name of the game, and it's just all right.
Never have a working title because that's just the title. That's just the title.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I like it because I think it tells you that it's a light game, right? Like it's not gonna get into the serious dark issues that are explored in themes in the MDZS. Instead, it's just a summer camp.
Only hints at it a little.
And it's not taking itself too seriously either.
Right.
Yes.
Although speaking of titles, I did not realize until y'all asked me for the one that y'all were going to call spat behind the scenes thing the weather report, and it's perfect. I love it.
I know.
You had to. It's great.
That is probably one of my favorite running gags is the weather.
I will admit I did not actually play the game. I'm not much of a gamer, ironically enough. So most of my playing experience is watching the streams that people did, and when I saw the weather gag come back again and again, I was like, oh yeah, that's good.
I remember before I met any of y'all, I found the game on AO3. I was like, oh, that's cool, and I bookmarked it. I was like, I'll play like later. Never did. They came back, and then you guys started mentioning. It's like, wait, you guys did that? Oh shit! And then like right before we started playing,
Yeah, I think the stream that you watch is probably Kickers, right? Like,
yeah,
and it's so much fun watching Kickers stream. Like,
yes, the letter. She missed so much of the game.
We're just like, no, don't do it.
Yeah, Kister.
It's almost impressive.
Her first playthrough, she really punted it just to try and find that secret room in and threw it all away. I was like, no, you were on track for the perfect. You could have gotten Wen Qing on the first try. You could have gotten Lanzi Chen, and then you just threw it all away.
It failed.
Oh, it was very fun. I enjoyed it a lot.
It's impressive, honestly.
yeah, like I don't know about you guys, but like, there were definitely so many things about the game that felt surprising to me. Like only watching Kickers playthrough, like that. Even though I'm like made so much of the game, I was like super surprised. Like I did not think the weather joke was gonna be really that funny. It was like really very throwaway. Like watching Kickers playthrough, be like, lol, okay.
I mean, I knew it was funny,
It was
but yeah,
hilarious.
it is one of those things where it's like, I think you play dating sims, so you can feel something. And like when I watched Kickter, even the playthrough where she wasn't achieving what she was hoping to achieve, I was like, that's it. We captured that energy because when you're like, oh no, like that's what you play a dating sim for. Like, so yeah, I was like, success.
And the fact she like barely went back that much, it was
I
like, good on
know.
you.
Well, that's okay. She played a second time and got what she was looking for. Donalys, do you want to talk about it? Do you have a favorite thing that you made art-wise?
Okay, I would say my favorite, I didn't make it, but like my favorite thing is choosing because I did the background stuff, right? Choosing the cornetto background. 'Cause before I had to pick donghua background sprites, I had not watched the donghua. So I was basically like 2xing my way through the donghua just to try anytime there were no characters on screen and I was like pause, like not paying attention to what was happening. And I was like, wait, there's a cornetto ad? Like what's happening here?
Oh, you got to experience it in real time. Oh, that's
Yeah,
great.
exactly. I was like, blew my mind. I was like, what is happening in this show? Then like I had to write the cornetto joke in like the absolute last minute in the original game. This was like post the writing deadline. So like the pod figures had already started recording and I was like, guys, I just realized there's a cornetto ad. Can I add it in? Like you guys would have to record more things if that's okay with you. They were like, sure. Then like I took the cornetto background, which I think is a joke only I will get, which is why I'm explaining it now so that everyone else will get it. That the background specifically for the shop is it says cornetto in Chinese, okay, guys? It's like literally that's the from the donghua. I'm very pleased that we got to use
It was perfect. Yeah, you struggled a lot for that, and it was worth it.
Yeah. I'm not an artist, guys. Like I had to like try to learn how to erase like the characters sitting in the corner of the screen at the cornetto shop, and like I did a really bad job of it.
Oh,
It's like
Yeah.
okay, I need to have this background. So
yeah, it's always a pain in the ass.
yes. Oh god, I'm like so bad at using the clone tool. Like ugh.
The clone tool is definitely easy. It looks like it's really easy to use, and then you do it, and it looks like ass, and you're like, but
Yeah.
And then you go too far, start stupid things you don't want it to. It's like, stop it.
Yeah, it's like
I remember that in college. Ugh.
it's like trying to like eat another part of your image and like paste it in, but then it like puts a weird artifact there and you just gotta go clean it up.
How does anyone do that?
it's only as good as the part of the image that you're trying to steal from.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm pretty pleased. That was in the background.
I mean, that's pretty cool. That's more like actual visual art, digital art stuff than I have any idea how to do. I just put the cut and paste the assets over on top of each other and change the colors.
And it looks so pretty.
I don't like actually draw anything.
No, but like the design stuff, like I don't know if we could just show, I don't know if you want to link this in the show notes, but like the draft shit I gave you, right? Of like, okay, I need like this, like the original relationship screen draft that I gave you, like really trashy looking, and then what you've made of it, like it's just that is art. That is artwork.
Yeah, but it's graphic design. So like the digital art stuff is so cool to me because I have no idea how to do any of that. Like I am aware of the existence of a clone tool, but I've never touched a clone tool. So I think all of that is really cool.
I think that should we like link some. I remember I posted like a of like sketches as the work in progress. Should we like put those on there
We can link whatever you want. Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
for funsies?
Yeah, we could put the mock-up next to the final approvals page would be pretty funny.
Yeah.
Because the mock-up was very funny. But the thing about the mock-up is it gave me all of the information that I needed. It's like, okay, you need to have this information. Now figure out how to put that on a page. And I was just so much of like moving stuff around. What if I put it here? What if I put it there? What if I put this over here? And the banner was across the top, and then it was across the bottom, and then it was over in the corner. And for a while, Mingjue was on top, and then Nonplus was like, wait, it looks like Mingjue is the main character. Can we flip him? So we put him on the bottom and put the relationship thing on the top. And just like all of this like juggling of things. But like the mock-up had all of the information. This is what it needs to contain. Now go make it look pretty. Which is exactly what a mock-up needs. It needs like, this is what you need.
Whereas like I think it's really cool. I think people might find it really cool to see like what I gave like Carrie for the sprites. Like Carrie mostly like in the first game especially, which makes the like where a lot of them our main sprites come from, I only gave you like a one-word description. I was just like
Yeah.
Jiang Cheng angry, Jiang Cheng rage, Jiang Cheng like this, Jiang Cheng that was it.
I know what that boy looks like when he's mad. And yeah, there was like minor tweaking to fit the actual like words when you actually like start plugging it in, and
Mm-mm.
oh, that one's too angry, something like that. I think there's a lot more like, okay, like now that we like with the DLC, there's a lot more like, can we like add an extra angry? That's a little bit more, but a little bit just for like those kind of variants in there.
I think I had a statistic. I don't know if you've mentioned that, like the number of sprites we have in the game, like
Oof.
to make a game this expressive. I think we had like 100 something.
That checks out.
Not in, yeah, it's like a huge number
Let's see.
just to make the game this expressive.
I actually have this all in like a separate folder in like my art stuff on my computer because
There's probably more sprites than you have in the game itself.
oh yeah, but it's a baseline and there's 109 items in my folder, and that includes like the Photoshop files and the cover art and stuff like that. So yeah, it's probably in the 120 range.
Yeah, okay, wait, I've got the trivia now. There are a total of 342 art assets in the game. Character sprites, there are 159. And
oh.
Yeah. 159. And then like for the relationship screen alone, it's 64 assets.
Oh my god.
Like I said, it's pages 35 to 90 in my thing, and that's just the heart.
Yeah.
It's so many little bits. So many little bits.
The hearts are like that. I think there's like a asset in like maybe it's like Team Fortress 2 or some game like that. That's like a worm and it's got like 1,000 polys on it. That's the relationship page for this game.
So if you could transmigrate back in time and do it all over again, what, if anything, would you guys all change?
I'd make the characters different heights.
Mm.
Because I was doing it, like I was trying to make them all like feel the same. And so they're literally all the same height. When I was drawing a new guy, like I literally would like trace over, I think I was using Zhang Cheng my base, And so like I would trace like the face shape or whatever as like the initial sketch so that I would keep them all in the same like spot on the sprite art or whatever. And I kind of thought in my head that like, while it was being developed, maybe you'd move one of them up or down like 10 pixels. That didn't happen, and that's fine. But I probably would make them different heights on purpose.
Nonplus is already having a heart attack thinking about how to do that.
They have to be with.
No, I know.
They have to be exact.
I would move up the character in the art and draw like a little bit more at the bottom. Like they would be physically like the file would be the same size. I would just move the guy up in the space.
Eyes get up above the
because there's a decent amount of white space between the guy and the top.
Make it some Meng Yao. You only see like a sliver of his forehead over.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a lot.
Yeah.
It would be like 15-20 pixels max up and down, but especially when there's like 5 of them in a row and they're all the same height, it's like, what is this, a girl group? Like
I mean,
they didn't audition and pick because they were all 5'7".
But like the beauty standards are pretty darn narrow. They are all unusually tall.
But like,
and they do in fact all look a bit alike.
Yeah.
Not so bad in the Untamed. Some of the shows are so similar.
And I probably would, because there was a little bit of appendix leftover detritus kind of stuff of me starting to draw them all at just head height and then being like, shit, I need to draw the forearms and the waist. I probably would do that on purpose, and then I would do more with their hands below, to start with. And so I wasn't necessarily tied to, like, if this didn't have the dialogue boxes on top of it most of the time, the bottoms will look kind of funky, honestly. Like you only really see them in like the transitions and stuff like that, so it's not really that obvious, but some of them are kind of awkward looking.
Lily, what about you? What would you change?
Now that I have like a bit more skill, and one, I would write down actually like some of the steps I would do, because when I went to go do like the last one, I was like, what the fuck did I do this again? every artist relates to that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Probably like redraw the first couple ones that I did, so because I have a bit more skill in it, and also maybe give myself more time instead of being like, yeah, I got time and then procrastinating a tiny bit.
What about you, Gab?
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on the starting earlier, on the not procrastinating. I think I would, if I could go back, I'd love to have gotten involved on the first game, because I'd be curious to see what upgrades I would have done on the second game if I had done this on the first game.
Oh god, yeah.
Ooh, wait, also, I would have persuaded you all to make a kissing scene so I could have made them
Well, maybe the next game.
I know we kind of discussed it a little bit at the beginning, but have a Zhang Chong / like Lamon G instead of just a Hayden.
Yeah.
Oh
Asking
yeah.
for that as well. Like I feel like we should have honestly added that.
That would have fun.
That was the most requested thing. Really surprised about that.
Like there was also like some like Wei Wuxian as well.
Yes.
But like there was a lot with like Lamon G. It's like maybe we fucking should have.
I think it's because he was so funny when he was not, when he
Yes.
just didn't like you, that they were like, but what if I want him to like me?
Enemies to lovers instead of enemies to like extreme rivals, or vice versa.
The two sprites that I have for him, the normal and the horny grip. The horny grip was unfortunately mostly covered by the dialogue box, and so like there was a
Aw.
little bit. It was like, you know, a stronger grip and like a shaking hand thing, and that's mostly underneath the dialogue box. Like there's a little bit on the face, but yeah, it wasn't super obvious, which is sad.
Infamous horny grip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's literally LWJ_horny is the name of it.
And what about you, Nonplus? Is there anything else you would change about the art?
I mean, I'm really glad that like in the expanded edition you guys took the UI off my hands, because the UI in the first game's really trash, guys. I'm really mad at you guys. And, like, in the
I thought it looked
expanded edition, we
great.
have like
I think it's not bad.
but like in the expanded edition we have like,
Looks better now, but it looked great in the beginning.
Yeah. It got a glow up.
I mean, I love our little text box and like, you know, all the screens that we have. Like, I don't know, do we mention the text box yet? Like the like little lily lotus, sorry, purple flower thing on our text box, and like
Yeah.
how it it looks similar to the TC number box and the color of the like menu choices and things like that. Like it all looks so pretty. Like now compared to the first game.
Yeah, it definitely got an upgrade.
God, I just remembered
Yes.
how you were asking, like, hey, that paper texture, how'd you do this? Like, I sent you a file. I was like, why is it black? It's like, oh, you have to do all these steps. Never mind all these steps for you. Sorry, I'm working on like 3 hours of sleep. My brain's not working. Here you go.
Lily, we love you.
But yeah, a lot of it looks so much prettier now.
Yeah, I know. I remember you asked if I could make a text box, and I looked at your text box and I said, well, most of my Canva graphics are about that level, so I can give you a different text box, but it's not going to be a better text box. So it's much better having someone actually draw a custom one for that.
Yeah, like I think it's, you don't realize the tiny like graphic design details until someone does something that makes it better, and you're like, oh, of course, because like with the text box, like because the flower is in the center of the screen, it makes it less ugly, that like the name of the character and then the dialogue, right, there's always this big space after the name of the character, but like that's now taken up by like a flower, so the dialogue doesn't look so unbalanced when you have a character talking versus if you have the narrator talking and there's no name. The dialogue doesn't look so unbalanced. So like I thought like that was like such a neat tiny detail.
That was totally my intended purpose, not just to make it look pretty. Because I think I threw like a bunch of ideas. You're like, that one. I'm like, okay.
That one worked really well.
I know when I was making the letter, I had a really hard time making one that would fill the whole screen. Yeah. They were all like that 4:5 ratio, not the 16:9 ratio. So I ended up cutting it in half and then spreading it out and then joining them in the middle. So they're each, it's like two-thirds of it joined in the middle to make it long enough. So like I spread it out. I'm sure there is a much better like actual way to do that, but that is my way to do that.
Listen,
it's always the case.
every single piece of tech out there is jerry-rigged by somebody, and like we'll fix it later, and later never ever
That's good
comes.
enough.
Nope.
Because I just like the middle occurs twice. The middle of this original picture occurs twice, basically.
Perfect.
And then just trying to get it to line up so that there's no visible
Yeah.
seam in the middle. So fiddly. But now it's 16 by 9. It fills the whole screen now because I just could not find one.
The way I kind of tweaked the code on like the credit scene to get the spacing between the different lines to be exactly the way I wanted it to be is also not the prettiest code that's ever existed, but it looks fine for the person who's playing it, and that's the most important thing.
All code is that joke about like the embroidery and the other side. You know, when you turn over the embroidery hoop.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Don't look at the layers.
Yeah.
Don't look at the code.
No,
Code is
don't.
so ugly.
There's one art thing I could have added. It would have been having a sprite with Jung Chung face palming.
Yeah.
One of the
Yes.
sprites that you added for the expanded was Jung Chung rolling his eyes, and it was so good. And I probably overused that one. But if I could have done a Jung Chung rolling his eyes and then face palming, my life would have been made.
Wei Wuxian enters the screen, facepalm. It's like automatic.
Wei Wuxian runs out of the screen after Lan Wangji, eye roll, face palm.
Yeah.
Because like this is the fun part about like I guess this part that's different about making a game versus like doing a regular Big Bang where like the art is to the text, right? It's like I might tell you, okay, I would love to have like angry Jiang Cheng and raging Jiang Cheng, and then like only after you put it with the text or like the pod figure's voice. Sometimes when they voice it, it sounds different from what I thought it would be when I wrote it. So now it doesn't quite match the art, and then we'll go back to the artist and be like, oh, could you change the sprites to be like this, like that, and that like iteration.
That was
Yeah, just a lot of iteration.
Yeah.
That was the thing I was actually worried about. Yeah. Corner's like, is he supposed to be angry right now? I think so.
It's Jung Chung, so
Context clue says yes.
Generally a good guess.
When in doubt.
How was Jung Chung feeling?
That was also fun, like drawing him. It's like, okay, he's a grumpy grape, but he's in love, so he's a grumpy grape in love. So like, that's a fun balance of like, okay, I can't make him look too cheery because he's grumpy, but like just a little smirk. Except for like with doing the sword fight, I figure like, nah, he's smiling. This is the one.
That's why this is your own Astro.
And like Nephi song, just like he's like trying so hard not to smile right now.
Yeah, one of the expressions that we added, or sets of expressions that we added for this was angry blush, which I think really helped bring that angry grape vibe. Okay, so for anybody who's listening, who's thinking about making their own fan game, is there any advice that you'd give them on the art side for these types of projects?
Make it so simple. Don't try to make Hades. You're not Supergiant. Like I'm not Supergiant. You can always make them more detailed once you get all the basics down, but you want to go for that minimum viable product where you've got a game at all steps. And then if you get through all of it and you still have time and energy to make more art or make it, more detailed or add kind of other things, then you can do it then. But the goal is to make a game.
Yeah.
That is step one.
The only super giant in this game is Naming Joy.
Exactly.
Don't be afraid of copy paste because apparently people don't fucking notice.
No,
That's great.
no, not at all. Yeah, no. Work smarter, not harder. 100%.
Yes.
Copy and paste your own work, right? Like, don't steal anybody else.
Right.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah. That is what I mean. Again, every single bit of like that, 90% of Jung Chong has been copy and paste.
What about you, Gab? Do you have any advice for anybody out there thinking about making their own game?
I feel like because I have no idea what Nonplus does to turn my graphics into playable things. I hand them to you and you turn them into magic. I have no idea. I have no advice because I don't know how any of this works. I just make the little things.
Well, the little things.
And then Nonplus does magic.
That sounds about right.
I only see the finished embroidery side. I have no idea how the underside works.
You just hand the yarn.
Yeah, I make the yarn. I spin the yarn. I hand it to nonplussed, and it becomes embroidery. I have no idea how it works on the back
So
end.
funny if you think that, because I think the exact same, but like in the other direction where I'm like, I hand Gab like the like the rubbish yarn that I really want, and then like Gab comes back to me with like this beautiful like already designed relationship screen. I'm like, perfect, and everything like file, like the titles are all already correct, so I can just plug in the code and then boom, it works so good. So
Yeah,
magic.
but the plug in the code step, you say that as a single sentence, but like that is a whole black box to me. I don't know how any of that works. You hand me so if we're continuing the metaphor, right? Like you hand me the fiber, right, the wool, and then I spin it into the yarn, and then you embroider it.
Nonplus hands you the sheet.
Just like
Here's this one.
Just the whole sheep. Sure. And then I shear it and card it and spin it. But I don't know how the embroidering step works, so I can't give any advice on the embroidering step.
Was there anything on the carding and shearing part that you want to share?
I gave you guys the tip, right? Which is you can label your Canvas slides and they will download as the file names. That is generally the best thing as far as like iterations, anything where you're doing 5 million pages of something, it's really helpful. You only have to label it once.
Should I have labeled my art?
It's too late now, Lily.
Because I just kind of like threw it at you guys.
It's too late to ask this question now.
No, it is, but like I didn't even think about that. Should I have?
I label, so like I have my own just sort of consistent, this is how I do all of my art stuff. If we were not just doing audio, I would do a little screen share. Maybe I'll do it some other time, walk through my Photoshop file for how this worked. But I have like a folder in my Photoshop file guy. And then sometimes I did name the layers when I want, like, because there's a bunch of them for some of them, and I want to be able to quickly like toggle between like the talk ones and things like that when I was doing the refining. But I'm also really bad at not doing that. Going back to the original question, one more piece of advice that I would give, I'm also like in professional development spaces in my day job. So one other piece of advice is get people to play it as early as possible.
Yeah.
Get testers in there as quickly as you can and get them to do it. Get your friends to like click through it and point out problems, because it's much easier to fix problems as soon as if you catch them really early than if you catch them at the very last
And I feel like we did, because
I know, I'm sure
there
we
was
did,
only like
but
a handful of bugs. I know like
Yeah.
New White Song. I think that art piece didn't show up in the gallery. And one other bug maybe, or that we needed to keep.
Well, we didn't catch. It's true. I think the thing about QA is that QA is a skill, right? So asking your friends to do QA and playing through it, they might not know how detailed, nitty gritty you want to get, like in terms of QA. Like when I said I want you to explore every dialogue option, I really do mean like click all the choices. Also in fandom nowadays, we're not as used to giving like critique. So like it's a big problem with QA where people will only flag up big errors. They may not flag up small things. So yeah, that's something that would be cool to have, like if you could get people to do QA and like kind of set an expectation of what actually you would like, what would be really helpful. A lot of feedback, like more feedback is always helpful. So
I think a specific list of the things you're looking for also helps, right?
yeah,
Because I think especially if you're in
your
fandom,
acceptance testing.
yeah, people will be like, oh, I'm just looking for any like spelling errors. But if it's like, no, I want to see if like anything weird happens on the screen, or if like, I don't know, like the character exit and entrances were something that I was like very new at. And so I was like very much trying to like look to see if I was doing it naturally. But if you're just playing the game, you're probably not actually noticing, right? So if you have those like specific things, or if it's like, does this feel rewarding? Does this particular storyline feel rewarding, right? Or how long did it take you to play the game? I think that helps kind of guide the play testers a little bit if they're not used to doing it.
Yeah. Because like for instance, one thing pre and post playtesting this time around we did different was initially the approval banners were just supposed to be in the center of the screen, right? And then I think one of my friends who was playtesting was like, oh well, it kind of flashes a bit too fast, and then like it would feel better if it was hovering over the person who is approving or disapproving. So then like I went back and like recoded all the approvals to hover over the character in question. And like I think that was like a better choice. So like you only catch these things when new eyes come and play test. So
Yeah.
Yes. There's a joke that I've heard several times in like the tester QA space that's like a tester walks into a bar and orders one drink, orders 999 drinks, orders -1 drinks, orders a lizard, orders the key smash. The first customer walks into the bar and asks where the bathroom is and the bar explodes.
yeah, that's exactly it.
So you can test internally with your own team all
Yeah.
day long, but you really external representation of people that have not been ingrained in this
Yes.
forever to be like, where's the bathroom?
What's this button do?
The number of things that I changed after watching Kictor's playthrough
Yeah.
and also Mango's playthrough, like I did change things because you suddenly spot errors when they play it.
I like what's he a new one sound like his heart approval showing up a little bit earlier, yeah.
Yeah, little things like that. Yeah. But also exactly what Carrie said about like make the minimal viable game, right? Like I don't know if for any of y'all, when you first signed up, did y'all realize you would be making that many art assets?
Yeah, I did. I did expect that much. There's a lot of little variants. I probably should have made a whole lot more, honestly. But
I thought I was gonna make the ending splashes and the ones in the middle of the game as well. So actually, I made less than I thought I was going to make because then we got more help. I was like, yes.
That's good.
Yeah, and like I said, oh, UI seems like a Canva thing. I had no idea what I was going to what that even entailed. But like the stuff you were talking about was like text box and banners and fonts, and I'm like, yeah, I know those things.
That's a word I know.
That seems like a way that I can get involved that does not involve me podpicking while moving house.
So for listener questions, so the first one is from Alex. So he asks, what was your favorite part of making the game?
I liked like seeing people's ideas bounce back and forth, like the little inside jokes, and like, especially like in the channels. So it's just a lot of like seeing like behind the scenes, like people like their ideas and like see what's happening, like working with not. It was fun to be like a part of that.
Yeah, I agree. It was fun to see like what I love seeing the final embroidery project. Like this is what it turns into. It's like, neat. That's why I have all of those buttons. Then they do that. That was cool. I really like watching the gallery turn into an actual gallery. That was neat. It's like now there's beautiful art in the gallery. I don't know how that happened. That's really cool.
Yeah, seeing the sprites get used is kind of like, if you if someone like gets your art, like they buy it or whatever, and then they send you a picture of it hanging up on their wall or pinboard or something, like, oh, it's in use. Congratulations, thank you. So yeah, seeing it actually getting used is like, oh, they are all the same height, aren't they? I do actually like not to be self-centered, but I do like the little art style. Like every time I do a project like where it's like I'm doing a bunch of things all together for a specific thing, like I feel like I do like a slightly different way of like coloring it or setting up the file or something like that. And this one turned out like I think like the actual like character art. It looks good, and it looks good in a way that's easy for me to like add another guy or something like that. It's not like a hard art style, but it still like functions well, and it doesn't look cheap.
Yes.
Yeah, look, the sprites are really good.
It fit the game, like not just the fact that you need so many of them, right? Like it's so expressive. It fits the like tone of the game, like lighthearted and like kind of epic-ish, like really well. And I love seeing how it all comes together. Like you guys talked about like the process of behind the scenes and seeing people work together. I feel like of all fandom projects, this one is the most collaborative I've ever been in. You really need to like go back and forth. There's so many people about so many other things, which is really cool.
So was there a scene you all wanted to have as an image but couldn't do it? So any kind of splash art you wanted to add. Oh, and this is asked by absolutely Mango, who's one of the Twitch streamers who streamed the game.
I wanted the Yon Lee art. Where's my girl?
I wanted kissing. Like at first I was like, oh, how should I draw them kissing? Then I'm like rereading like ahead, and I was like, sent me like then Smash like, okay, give me an idea what they're doing. He's like, wow, nobody's locking lips, are they? Damn it.
Next time. What about you, Gab? Was there anything else you wanted to see added in terms of splash art?
No, I think they're all super cool. I think it's really fun. Yeah, I can't think of anything in particular that I'd want to be added. It's a good story. I would be happy to see the kissing though. Kissing is always fun.
And then also from Absolutely Mango. So, did you plan the sprite expressions before or after the writing?
I do believe it was mostly written without with like random extra little things when Non gave me the sprite list.
Yes,
correct?
so I basically have the whole script written before I ask a list from Carrie, and then like we go back and forth a little bit. Once I get the sprite, we put it in the game, and then I'm like, could we change it a little bit more? And then we go back and forth a little bit. But yeah, writing does come first.
And then they asked as a follow-up, were the text boxes or sprites created first, or were they developed at the same time?
Sprites came first, but we did have an idea of like the sort of standard for like Renpai's like format. This is how big they are. This is how these are the ways you can vary it and things like that. But the specific assets came with the DLC.
Yeah, you kind of need to know the exact size of your text box to tell the sprite artist how much of their sprite is visible. So you like that sort of basic stuff.
And then this one's for you, Nonplussed. How much time was spent on going through episodes to find the perfect backgrounds to use?
Oh god, so too much time. I think, okay, in fairness, I have not watched the Donghua before, so that's not me. But yeah, actually, Daisy, you went to find like a couple of the Taiyi backgrounds as well, right?
Yeah.
So you know how long it takes.
I mean, but I've watched the
They were good
season 1 of the
quality photos.
Donghua like many times, so for me it wasn't such a labor because I was like, I know exactly the scene that they're there, and then I was just able to kind of go through and I actually picked out more backgrounds than I ended up using. So for me, the season 1 of the Donghua is very close to my heart, so it was a joy to revisit it.
Yeah, I think depending on whether you've watched the Donghua before and how much you love it, this can be can take a long time or a very short time.
Yeah.
And it is very annoying. Like they never released like the background images or anything as like their own art. So you did have to actually go
They're
through the thing to
pretty.
do it. You couldn't just look.
Yeah. From Absolutely Mango as well. Was there anything y'all wanted to add on the art side that was kind of beyond the scope of the game otherwise? So not just splash art, but anything.
Drawing the backgrounds.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
that would have ballooned the scope of the art for the game. I mean, as much as we were just complaining about how laborious it was to go through the show, it is still easier than drawing.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
And I do think it looked better, honestly. I think it would look better than any background I could have drawn.
I was able to do it a little bit with the flickering lights from the but I think like having like hair or clothes movement like would have also been like really. I feel like if I had more time and a little more skill, I probably could have pulled that off.
I think we would have had to have at least one additional artist to just do background, possibly two.
Yes, absolutely. I know that's something that when I was first pulled on, we talked about. I was like, I'm going to focus on the sprites because that's more important. If you get another person to do the backgrounds, that's great. Again, I did get like halfway through, like potentially drawing one. And I was just kind of like, I got to like the sketch point. I didn't get very far. But I was kind of looking at it and thinking about how, but I was just like, I don't think the sprites are going to stand out because they're going to be too similar, and the backgrounds are not going to, like, if I did the backgrounds in the same kind of like visual style as the sprites, like they wouldn't be interesting enough. Like they wouldn't have enough depth, they wouldn't have enough detail, and the sprites and the background would just kind of blend together. So they did need to kind of contrast.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, the contrasting art styles I think did help to make it pop out a little bit more.
We wanted to make actual like more mini game stuff that would have required so much art assets and like holding time. So that would have been something cool.
I feel like the letter is a type of mini game in itself.
The letter is a mini game.
The gift shop is a mini game.
True, the gift shop is a mini game.
We talked a lot about mini games. Do you want to talk a little bit more about what we were planning on Plus, or do you want to save that for another?
We'll save it.
Okay.
It's not really art.
Got to keep people wanting more.
So one more question from the listeners. So Absolutely Mango asked, "Can I eat your art?"
Absolutely Mango asked for the background for the lantern scene to like kind of make their own kissing scene. So if anybody else like wants to do that, fucking go for it.
Mhm.
I'm willing to like just like credit me for like the background that I made and like doodle away. I just want to see the results.
Okay, I'll link it in the show notes.
Yeah, that's like, because like when I think like when I read a fic that I want to eat, I podfic it. So I literally put it in my mouth. So it's like, well, how do you do that with art? Well, you get that. So that's a great way to do it with art, right? You take the backdrop and you draw your own version. You doodle on it. You are eating the art, right? You are putting it in your mouth. I like with podfic because you are literally putting it in your mouth.
Yes. Then I'm also like living vicariously through them because they're drawing the kissing that I didn't get to do. I was like, yes,
Yeah,
do it.
that's a good thought.
Somebody in the first episode was also asking for like additional poly endings, and it's like, well, just make your own on our background.
There we go.
Make a fan fiction of the fan fiction.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the game. Do it.
Recursive fandom.
This is a little off topic, but I just filled out my my Yuletide sign up today, the last day, and I saw that there were people who had nominated a bunch of like interactive fiction and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, I wonder if anybody would ever nominate our game. Like that could be fun. Yeah,
Nice.
That would be neat.
We
We
could.
could nominate our game. Well, at least one of the fics nominated was nominated by the author.
That's cool.
Nice.
Well, maybe next year.
We can nominate the game and have people can write
Yeah.
fic based on the game. Can draw art based on the game.
That would be so cute.
Yanni gets a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Just be like,
Yes.
Yeah. The Gusu dating sim, the Gusu summer camp dating sim universe.
It is Jong Young. No matter what, both my vision and
Black.
Jong hearts black.
Yeah.
Instantly. Doesn't matter.
Yeah,
The hunt for
yeah.
Bush.
Wasn't there? We were joking at one point about her romancing
Yes.
the waterborne
Yes.
abyss.
That was my I was like, yeah. That has to be a romanceable character, the waterborne abyss.
Oh yeah, another.
They them
I was
pronouns.
like, I think it was also brought up like maybe Wen Ning. Wen Ning being like a possible romance option too
Oh yeah.
for
Yeah, yeah.
Jung Chong. The boy needs love.
Yes. Yes, he does.
Totally. Okay, so that's it for the listener questions in this episode. If you have questions for us that you'd like answered in future episodes, you can comment on the AO3 post or complete the Google form in the show notes. Thank you to everyone who supported our game and was curious enough to listen to this episode. So thank you, Nonplus, Carrie, Lily, and Gav for joining me on the Weather Report.
I love that name.
Okay, see you next time. Yeah, enjoy that unseasonably warm weather in Gusu.
The weather is great.